The monitoring developments in the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has passed the tax reform bills for a second reading. The bills were referred to the Committee on Finance after an extensive debate by majority of the members of the Assembly. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa has the story.
For 4 hours, one after the other, members of the House of Representatives debated the principles of the 4 tax reform bills sent to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu last year. The bill sparked criticisms and faced stiff opposition from many, including northern governors, opposition politicians, and lawmakers from the north, forcing a suspension of the consideration in the House of Representatives. All hurdles have now been cleared as the leader of the House leads the debate after presenting the bills for consideration. Julius Ihovere believes enactment of the tax reform bills offers many benefits to the people and governments at all levels.
The focus of the tax reform bills, essentially, to ensure a total overhaul and modernization of the tax system, which is chronically outdated and one of the most backward on earth.
The Nigerian tax reform bill seeks to consolidate separate tax laws into a single piece and proposes a repeal of the Personal Income Tax, Value Added Tax Act, and Company Income Tax Act. Members from across all geographical zones took turns to contribute. There was no dissenting voice as members comment the initiatives behind the bills. They spoke eloquently of the merits of the bills when they become laws. Some concerns were, however, raised about some provisions of the bills. Some of the lawmakers were against the proposed increase in value-added tax.
I think that the governors have spoken as true Democrats, as true lovers of Nigerians.
On the issue of increasing the VAT, we are all on the same page that VAT should not be increased. But let us use the advantage in this reform to increase collection efficiency from 20% to at least 70%.
The funds generated should be channeled towards amenities, basic amenities that will enhance the livelihood in our country.
Whatever system, policy, or law or regulation that we are bringing on board, the first consideration must be the welfare of the majority of the Nigerian people.
This bill addresses 2 critical, important issues to me: economic stability and the growth of our nation, Nigeria.
The bills have now been referred to the Committee on Finance for further legislative action. The House Committee on Finance will, in the coming days, host industry players, professionals, organized labor, the civil society community, and other members of the public for their contributions into the bills ahead of a clause-by-clause consideration and third reading by the House. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Now, member of the House of Representatives representing Damboa-Goza, Chibok constituency of Borno State, Ahmad Jaha, joins me from our Abuja studio for more on this. Thank you for joining us at this time. The Senate passed the tax reform bills for second reading in November last year. Tell us why the first reading was this rigorous in the House, and what do we expect from the second reading?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Jaha, I'm asking about why, the first reading was this rigorous and what the expectations are for the second reading.
Yes, it's a part of our legislative process in making a law for executive. The bill has to be read the first time whenever the bill is introduced to the House. Then later on, the bill is going to be subjected to debate where the basic principles of the bill will be discussed extensively by honorable members, and at the end of the debate, the bill is going to be read the second time and be committed to the standing committee, in this case, Committee on Finance, to do the needful, particularly the public hearing and reporting channels.
All right. Just last month, January, the Nigeria Governors Forum gave backing to the bills and made some recommendations. Is the House considering these recommendations as it continues the legislative process?
Yes, recommendations. As far as the recommendation is concerned, members have observed some concerns in the bill, and the committee is the one charged with the responsibility of bringing in a recommendation based on what they have received in the public hearing. So the outcome of the public hearing is exactly what is going to determine the outcome of the bill before consideration in the committee of the whole.
All right, but how true is the insinuation in some quarters that governors are controlling lawmakers in their states on these bills?
Yes, governors are one of our critical stakeholders, particularly at the grassroots level. If you said they are controlling the honorable members, you may be right, you may be wrong. You may be right in the sense that they are one of our critical stakeholders that we do consult to take a decision in our various constituencies. They are not, on the other hand, individual members have their own personal opinion, because you can have situations whereby substantial number of members in a state belong to another political party while the governor is from another political party. So that you cannot say that the governor controls members of that particular political party. They are entitled to their own personal opinion, except that if their opinion rhyme together with that of their governors, then the impression people will have is that their governors have been controlling them. As far as we are concerned, some of us even differ from the position of the governors, which I happen to be one. As far as I'm concerned, the governors did not clearly define what they mean by 30% derivation in the horizontal distribution of the VAT. So until when I have a clear definition of what they mean by 30% derivation, that I will be convinced to stand my position on that particular position of the Governors Forum.
All right, and at this pace, when do you suppose the bills would actually be passed?
Pardon?
At the pace at which the lawmakers are going, when do you suppose that the bills would be passed?
Actually, I am not actually holding brief for the House, and I'm not in this studio to speak on behalf of the whole House. I am here by virtue of my position as House of Representative member representing Chibok Damboa Goza and one of the opponents to this bill at the very beginning of its presentation. So as far as I'm concerned, I know the process is going to take some time, because today the bill is referred to the Standing Committee on Finance, and the Standing Committee on Finance must do the needful by inviting all the statutory members to have a series of meetings before deciding on the date of the public hearing. And after deciding on the date, they have to issue out advert in both print and electronic media to invite memoranda from all interest groups, pressure groups, stakeholders across the country and even beyond the country to make submission, particularly stakeholders that are interested in the Nigerian economy, to make submission and make presentation whenever a date is cited for the proper public hearing. So immediately after the public hearing, the committee will go back to the House, sit down and form a report. After forming the report, they are going to harmonize each and every submission made by the people during the public hearing. Then after harmonizing them, they are going to prepare their report by laying some recommendations for members of the House to consider.
All right, and very quickly, you mentioned
after that.
Oh yes, I believe you've made your point on that, but you made a remark which I would like you to quickly react to. You mentioned that you're an opponent of the bill from the very beginning. Has your stance changed over time?
No, it has changed. It has changed because my opposition to the bill definitely is going to be addressed, because we raised some concerns, particularly those areas that contradict the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, especially areas which is Section 141, subsection 1, that try to give the Act the position of the Nigerian Constitution. We objected that vehemently, or I objected that vehemently, and I equally objected particularly the horizontal sharing formula forwarded at the very beginning, where 20% is based on consumption, is based on population, 20% based on equity, and 60% based on consumption derivation. Right. I rejected that vehemently. And there are some areas, particularly where it has to do with income tax that includes inheritance. Right. I objected to that, and other relevant sections that raise a lot of concerns to my constituents.
All right, Mr. Jaha. Member representing Damboa Goza, Chibok constituency of Borno State in the House of Reps, Ahmad Jaha, thank you so much for your time on TVC News at 7.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to meet you too.